Hello once again. This is Adam from Alaska Cut the Cord. As you may have noticed, we're off grid and we try to do things as inexpensively as we can. But I have to drive, and old Blue over there gets about 16 miles to the gallon. And if you haven't noticed, the gas prices have more than doubled here in Alaska. That gets really expensive. You could either spend $30,000-$40,000 on a car that gets better fuel economy, but it won't do any good because you can't buy any right now. So what I did do is I purchased a 2022 Tenere 700 by Yamaha. Gets about 50 miles to the gallon. Yeah, it's a little bit of money, but the return on investment shouldn't be too long.
Come join us out here.
Stay tuned to the very end because I have got something so cool. You're probably going to like the end better than you like the beginning. But what we're going to do today on this girl is just... I've been riding for, a better part of my life, and I started off on dirt bikes, and then I graduated over to Harley Davidsons, and my last bike was a Harley Davidson Road Glide, which was a beautiful bike. But here in Alaska, there's a lot less blacktop roads than there are dirt roads, which is why I chose this. It's new to me, it's different to me, but just like a Harley, you want to add things to a bike to make it your own. So we've got a few things we're going to do here. Airplane. Okay, so let me show you this stuff over here. So these are some things I'm going to add to it. When I got it, it came with the tour pack with the 2 boxes, but I want the rear rack, I want the rear box, the skid plate, which is right here. The one that's on it is a little bit thicker than a Radley heat shield that you hear at McDonald's parking lot. And I'm going to do the 18 millimeter lowering kit and some heated hand grips because it's Alaska. Now, I didn't just buy this for the sole purpose of saving some fuel economy, because you can imagine, it cost a few dollars anyway, but you could have bought a lot of gas for. I have on my bucket list a goal of riding the Prudhoe Bay and dipping my toes in the Arctic Ocean. And that means I got to ride down the Haul Road, and that's what I'm building this for. So let's get started. Okay, the first thing we're going to start with is this skid plate. I mean, it'll stop a few rocks and stuff, but on these newer bikes, they have a catalytic converter, just like on your car with your oxygen sensor, and you really need to protect that stuff, and this isn't going to protect us against much. So what we're going to be replacing it with, and this is from Yamaha, is this beauty. This is a nice skid plate. You can see it's all laser welded and formed, and just, I mean, this thing is tough. That's going to take a hit. So that's what we're going to start with. Let's get that upgraded. It's on other bikes, kind of converted here. So this is like the old school stuff. It just takes this is out. Right here. It's simply just like a random kind of converter. And it'll line side. And well right here. And it takes just right here. Like it's on. So here you can really see the difference between the new one and the original one, and the thickness versus the thickness. Just overall size is much improved. So let's see about putting this in. I'm supposed to start by installing grommets. Just kind of use an Allen wrench to push the grommets through, so it's rubber isolated that way. In each one of those, we have this that your bolt will go through, and then we have a washer on it as well. We have 4 of those, 4 bolts, and when we do this, we'll be using some Loctite 242, and that'll keep things from vibrating loose. And these pieces we'll install on the grommets from the top side. Just push them in there, and then from the bottom side you'll have your bolt with your washer. You got it started or no?
I don't think so. Oh.
You want me to do it? That doesn't help. Usually I try to coat them in dirt. It helps with the Loctite.
Does it?
Make a better
grip?
Yeah,
Oh.
Lots of dirt.
Okay. Should I do it again?
No,
Should I double coat
no.
it?
Usually just one coating is fine of dirt and sawdust. Yeah, that's what I do.
I got it then.
Okay. Let's take it off again so we can get some better practice at it.
Okay.
That'll give you a chance to get more dirt on your bolts.
Right.
But with that not actually being in the instructions, you know, one of the things that you have to do with this is it comes with a little factory heat shield here, and you would think you wouldn't really need it with this, but they did send you a nice little bent up stainless steel piece which reuses the old hardware from the original heat shield. So we'll go ahead and put that in now. Okay, so now with that installed,
Do we do this again?
so there you are. That install was really pretty simple. You reused 3 fasteners and the rest were all new. The only thing that I would say that it'd be nice if it were different, and that's why we used the blue Loctite instead of the red. I wish they would have made a removable panel for the oil filter. I think that would be kind of nice because the oil filter is hidden in back there and you have to drop the whole skid plate to remove that. Yeah. And that's a little inconvenient, but one of my bigger fears were that a rock was going to kick off the front tire. This old skid plate wasn't doing much, and then it would literally punch a hole in the oil filter, and that would be kind of a showstopper. The next thing we're going to do, the headlight, I don't know what it costs, but it's quad LEDs, and I can imagine that that's going to be pretty expensive should you take a rock through that. And as I mentioned before, we are planning to do the haul road to Prudhoe Bay, and there's going to be a lot of things that we're going to take on this trip that I wouldn't normally take. And this is your headlight assembly. It's absolutely gorgeous. I want to protect it because rocks are a big deal on that road, because the truckers take precedence and you are an inconvenience to what they're trying to do. They're working. So I'm going to do my best to protect this bike and myself along the way. So what I did is I purchased these parts here, and it didn't come with any instructions. Yep, this is not genuine Yamaha. And somehow this ends up being a headlight protector. So I guess we'll see what it takes to put this together. Here it is, pre-assembled. Nothing's real tight. That's what's going to happen. Okay, so that's going to be the protection for your expensive headlight. Now, the way it looks is these will replace the bolts on the fairing on the side, and then once it's on, these little rubber stoppers will simply bloop and hold it on.
Does it make that noise?
It sounds exactly like that.
Okay.
Yeah. And it is a Yamaha, so everything is going to be metric. And save all your old hardware. You know, you might find the next best thing next year and decide to trade it off and reuse or sell your parts separately. Wow, okay. 2 hours later, we have this back on.
How many swear words?
All of them.
Oh, just once? All of them just once?
Here's the deal. To install this, you remove these 4 button head cap screws and you install these. Okay, then the little rubber piece holds it on and you're good to go. Okay, except that these, whatever kind of thread that is, it's not a metric thread or a standard thread. It's just like a smeared thread. And it doesn't actually thread into the rubber mounted thread inserts. So they end up twisting off and you end up trying to make something work. So this has been the most frustrating. I ordered this off of Amazon. It was not a Yamaha part. It will probably fly off the first time anything hits it, but whatever, there it is. Quality level on that one, 0. Absolute 0. It looks neat though, I guess. So, okay.
Now you just need to cross it with black electrical tape so it looks like...
Right, no. So the next thing that we're going to do, we are going to work on installing the rear rack so we can put the tour pack on the back. The rear bags are completely removable, which we're going to do now. So that's what you got for a box. They're supposedly watertight, water resistant anyway. I can see putting some pads in the bottom here so stuff doesn't bang around. I wish they came with like a soft sleeve. That way you don't get dings from the inside on your boxes, but it seems to be a lot of storage in there. Really nice. So to remove it, once it's unlocked, we pull this, and here's a cool thing. You look on the very top here, and it shows green right there. And when you pull it out, it changes to red and the box comes off. To install the rear rack so we can have the rear tour pack, you have to remove and replace this. I think it personally should have come with a rear rack. So the bike, when we bought it, the standard price is $9,999, but this was like 12 something. Because it had the tour pack, and now I kind of understand what the tour pack is. So what they had, your pannier mounts, which is all of this, the rear foot pegs, these brackets, and the grab handle part of it. Now all we did, we removed that part of it, okay, and the new one is just like that. So it's got the fixed spacers here. The other ones, we'll just add these back in here somehow, and then the brackets are already there on the floor. So out of all the hardware that got sent with this, it's only going to use 4 of the bolts and nuts for the bottom. So I'm going to get 2 of these started in here. Now if you were doing this without the tour pack already installed, it's going to be a little bit more work. There's going to be some little nubs you have to remove in here. This bracket down here, you won't have the rear foot pegs, so you'll have to install this bracket, which they gave me right here, which we don't actually need. We won't use that. So it's actually, this should be fairly simple. And again, I'm going to get them started, but I'm not going to tighten them all the way down. The bottom slides over these, it's kind of like a keyhole slot that slides over these little stainless pegs.
Oh, I didn't see that.
And the top has the same thing right here.
It looks like you can bolt them too, if you wanted to.
Well,
there's little bolt holes here.
Maybe, but you want to be able to, if you're going to a hotel or a sketchy area, you can just boom, you can pop them off, you can take them in the hotel with you, and you don't need to unpack here. Yep. So let's get the other one on, and then we can put.
You're gonna watch me struggle with that one too?
I'd like to see you struggle twice.
You're such a supportive guy.
If it was good once, it'd be better twice. Oh, Phyllis, you wrecked it. I'm dying here.
You're fine. So.
Oh, no. Up. Over to the right. Righty tighty left. There you go.
Okay.
Now push the top in.
I'm just trying to figure out what's going on.
But I don't know that it'll latch without the key. You'd need to just rotate it back. And when they're both green on top here, they are latched. It's latched. It doesn't get any more latched.
It might.
No. Now put the back one on.
Oh, I don't know. You know, mister. It's not nearly as heavy as it looks.
No.
So there's two doinkers there.
Yep. Okay, slide those on.
Does this one have a green and red? No, but you definitely hear it.
This one also, when they ordered it, it does not come with the lock mechanism, and they neglected to notice that. So I'm still waiting for that. It should be in here hopefully next week.
Smells new.
There it is inside.
What I said.
It's got a nice rubber gasket in here that seals along the top, and it's pretty nice. I think it's well made for, it should be for what it costs. I think that rear box, because I purchased it right after purchasing the bike, Yamaha gives you 15% off all accessories. So that's why I purchased it. And it was like $350.
Okay.
So, seems rigid enough for the haul road.
That is definitely a click.
Yeah, it definitely has a good positive sound to it when it latches in. It's not moving.
No rattly.
Nope. So there's your new rack. Why don't we hold on to this one? So I'm going to have you sit on it, but I'm going to take it off the center stand.
Are you gonna ride on the back?
Oh, she's looking forward to it.
Okay. Oh, that's convenient.
A lot of bikes have them, not all of them. This has the optional center stand, which holds it up really vertically. The bike is a bit of a challenge to get on. Even for me, that's why I'm adding the lowering kit. When I get on it, I step on the peg here and swing my leg over. On a Harley, I would just swing my leg over. So it's a little different, but.
Hold on. You want me to get on again?
Yeah. Now you have the rear rack. It seems like it could use, if you're going to have a rider, some padding back here. Otherwise, these might not feel the best. But go ahead. Just step up, put your foot on the peg. It won't go over, you're fine.
Right, it won't.
It won't.
It wants to.
No, it
Why
doesn't.
sit on the back? You're going to drive that bad boy, aren't you? No, not this one.
So how does that feel?
Oh, that's not bad.
It's not bad?
Doesn't poke you? No, it's not.
It's spread farther apart?
Yeah, it's...
Okay. I mean, it might
It lands on my padding.
And it's not a 200 horsepower machine, so it's not like you're gonna get sent off.
You haven't ridden with you.
No, I wouldn't either.
No, yeah.
Throttle heavy. Yeah, and that's one of the nice things, the way this is laid out, you know, with the crash bars on it.
Feet on the ground.
Part of the reason that I wanted the boxes, and I've watched several videos where people complain that the way the exhaust is mounted, that it looks like it's going to get ripped off, and maybe it has. But with the Tour Pack, you get the extra caging around the exhaust, and you have the boxes. So for me, the exhaust is not really an issue. I would like to shorten up this tail, though. It seems to be kind of extreme. And I know they do make kits for that, but I just don't have that yet. So on to the lowering kit, because I'm 6 foot tall and I barely touch with the balls of my feet. Phyllis doesn't really touch all that much at all. You should be fine. So we're gonna lower. I've got the little lowering links for the back. We're gonna lower that, and then we're also going to raise the inverted front shock tubes, and that should also lower the front another 10 millimeters. So you keep the handling the way it was before. If you just lower the back and not the front, it's gonna change the characteristics and the weight balance of the bike. So let's get on to that. Okay, so the next thing I did, I didn't really videotape it, kind of ran on a light. But what I did is I put the lowering kit in, and I'll show you what that is. If you look down in here, you see the two blue arms. There's one on each side. You pretty much install those, and it lowers the seat height here about 18 millimeter. It's a fairly easy job. The only part that I would say that's difficult is this bike has the optional center stand. The center stand's right here, and that has to be removed in order to get the bolt out on the other side, because the shock isn't centered. These springs definitely pose an issue. The way I ended up getting them off, I have a drum brake tool that I use to get those off of there, and I only bled once, so it wasn't too bad. But I did that part. I reinstalled the center stand with the springs, and then to keep the handling original, or as close to as possible, you need to also raise the front forks by about 10 millimeter, which I did on both sides. That is pretty easy to do. There are 2 bolts here and 2 bolts down here. You loosen those and you raise 1 fork at a time. Don't try to do both, do one at a time. And it's pretty evident when you look closely at it that there is a part on that fork tube that is machined different than the rest of it. And you only have about 10 millimeters worth of movement before you're into the rougher area that has a taper to it, and you want to stay off that taper. You want to stay on the machine straight part. So I did that both front and back. The riding position is better now for me. I'd like to be able to flat foot when I come up to a stop sign if possible. Mostly because I don't know if you've ever had the issue, but I have been on a bike where I'm sitting comfortably. I come up to a stop sign and I don't realize that I stopped right next to a pothole. And if you already almost can't touch the ground, and then you have 4 inches more to go, you're going to be in a situation. So I like to be a little bit closer. Doesn't really change the handling. It does reduce your ground clearance by a little bit, but the handling of the bike should be as it was originally. For this next part, if you know me, you're absolutely not shocked that I did this. It's something that I've wanted to do ever since I was a little kid. I don't know, I used to come home Sunday and watch Wild America or whatever it was, and these guys would be riding these things all over, and I finally got a chance to buy one. A buddy and I did, and it needs some work, not gonna lie, But are you ready for this? Here it is. You guessed it, it's a Rokon. You maybe didn't guess that. This is a 1972 Rokon Trailbreaker. You can see it's been like handwritten with a marker on there. These are originally a two-stroke, two-wheel drive motorcycle. That's right. There's a sprocket on this side that comes down and drives this sprocket, and it's two-wheel drive. This bike hasn't seen a trail in a long time. Another super neat feature, if you're not familiar, is these wheels. They're hollow. You can take out this plug here and you can put water or fuel or, I don't know, whiskey, I guess. You can fill those up for added traction or added economy. It has a Chrysler engine, a two-stroke, probably about 5, 6, 7 horsepower, something like that. An Albion 3-speed transmission. Kind of a unique transmission. It's a 3-speed transmission with a neutral between every gear, which is kind of weird. But my plan with this bike is, originally I thought, you know, let's put a 4-stroke in it and let's kind of modernize it. But as I study them a little bit more and learn a little bit more about this motorcycle, and what I want to do with it, which is all hunting related, I'm going to rebuild this engine. I'm going to rebuild it and build it back better than it was. It's going to be kind of a cool project. So if you want to see more about the Rokon Trailbreakers or anything like that, I'm going to be showing you more. It's going to be pretty neat. So yeah, other than that, this is Adam from Alaska Cut the Cord, and I appreciate each and every one of you. I hope your day is blessed and good, and we'll see you next time. Love you, bye.